Welcome back everyone. Today we're going to Wild Asia Monorail. If you have a special needs child, here is a helpful tip. When you enter the zoo, ask for a day pass with your child's name on it. This really helps in case of meltdown or aggression because staff will allow you to go through without waiting in long line. This was really helpful in my case. So here I picked up the pass and I'm ready to go. But this has really saved my life. Anna was very aggressive and had meltdown. So few times I had to use it, especially in the monorail. It really helped because the line was very longer and he couldn't wait, and that really helped us.
Thank
you.
you.
We're just able to get into the gate without any waiting. So let's enjoy the ride with us.
Wild Asia Monorail. My name is Riv, and I'll be your lovely guide today. And once you cross the Bronx River, you'll be transported into Asia as if by magic. We'll be visiting animals from China to India, Mongolia to Nepal, and more. For your safety, you must remain seated at all times and keep your hands and feet inside the car. Now, here at the Bronx Zoo, we are the headquarters of the wildlife conservation to protect animals all over the world. And this here is our Kanha Meadow, where we currently care for 3 different species of deer and 1 species of antelope. All the way in the back here on this left side, you'll see some small tan antelope with a white underbelly. Those are our female black buck antelope. They're hiding over there to kind of get some coverage from the rain, so that's why it's kind of hard to see them back.
What Daddy say? Daddy say you
Now
are
throughout the rest of this meadow, but this meadow here, we have it with all of these different kinds of deer. As Asia is actually the continent known for having the largest number of deer species, and this is how we choose to represent that deer diversity.
Daddy give you case? That's not good.
And the large
Is
number
it
of deer
good?
species that we typically have roaming around here requires the keepers to closely monitor all of the animals. And the keepers, they'll start their day by checking to see that all the animals are healthy, as well as seeing if any fawns or calves were born overnight. And those newborns are given a neonatal exam, which includes weighing, vaccination, and tagging for identification
What's that?
purposes.
You like it?
And once the animals are all out in this
You like
meadow,
it?
the keepers will prepare their night areas, so they have
How you enjoying?
The side is empty. But
কেমন
throughout the day,
লাগছে?
they do transition in between the two
ভালো
areas,
লাগছে?
especially depending on the weather, if they want a little more sun, a little more shade, or some coverage from any rain. That's why they're down there at the moment, is they're trying to get some coverage from those trees. And in that huge pasture, we'll be on the lookout for some very large cow-like animals known as gaur. And that's spelled G-A-U-R, in case you were curious. And they're a relative of the American bison, which is another species of animal we have here at the Bronx Zoo. Some of you might have seen them, some of you might have not. Find them out in the wild. So you can test your skills, see if you spot our tiger in here today. And the tiger that we have in here is our male Amur or Siberian tiger named Anakin today, horses or Przewalski horses. They were extinct out in the wild and could only be found in zoos. You're seeing them right here. Our whole group is here at the beginning. And you'll notice this small one that's a little bit paler than the rest of them. That is our foal that was born over the winter season about 6 months ago. And today we've had over 55 Przewalski horse foals born here at the Bronx Zoo since receiving our first animals in 1902. And I'm sure you've noticed a couple of differences between these horses and the more domestic ones that we're used to seeing. The Przewalski's horse does have a stockier build, shorter legs, and an upright mane which is missing a forelock. And the forelock is just that hair that typically falls over a horse's forehead, similar to bangs. So that is why they look more like donkeys than horses, but they are a species of wild horse. And they're also making a bit of a comeback as there have been several reintroduction efforts of their species in areas of Mongolia and China from herds in North American and Asian zoos. I do also have a bit more information about them from one of our coordinators, Jonathan Slatt.
Jonathan Slatt, and I'm the Russia and Northeast Asia coordinator for the Wildlife Conservation Society. I believe that wildlife has a place on this earth. My job is to find practical solutions that allow people and wildlife to thrive together. Peter Przewalski's horse went extinct in the wild in the 1960s. And on a recent trip to Kazakhstan, we thought about the ongoing and successful efforts in that country to bring these horses back to the Central Asian steppe. The world needs happy stories, to watch the impossible become possible, and to see hope restored. And that's what's happening today with Peter Przewalski's horse.
This area right here is still Przewalski horse territory. This is just their upper meadow. We passed them super early on in the lower meadow. That's why this side is empty. But throughout the day, they do transition in between the two areas, especially depending on the weather, if they want a little more sun, a little more shade, or some coverage from any rain. That's why they're down there at the moment, is they're trying to get some coverage from those trees. But trust me, they do use every square inch of this very large meadow to run around and stretch their legs. And in a few seconds, once we get out of the Przewalski Horse territory and past a bit of foliage here, we'll enter a huge pasture up ahead. In that huge pasture, we'll be on the lookout for some very large cow-like animals known as the gaur. And that's spelled G-A-U-R, in case you were curious. And they're a relative of the American bison, which is another species of animal we have here at the Bronx Zoo. Some of you might have seen them, some of you might have not. But the gaur, they are actually much bigger than our American bison, and I say that because they're actually the largest wild cattle species in the world, as they can be up to 6 feet tall, 10 feet long, and weigh over 2,000 pounds, which for reference is roughly the size of a small car each, and we do have a lot of them here in our herd. And with their large size and their impressive horns, the male gaur can actually fight off just about any predator, even a tiger. And so the main threats to them these days are instead major habitat losses due to humans over farming, as well as bovine diseases transmitted from our more domestic cattle, like cows. And the horns that you're seeing are also a great indicator for their sex, as female gaur have horns that curve inwards, and male gaur have horns that point straight up. Unsurprisingly, the males are substantially larger than the females, but it's a bit more fun to go based off their horns. And for these guys as well, I do also have a bit more information about them, but from one of our zookeepers, Dave.
Hi, I'm Dave, a wild animal keeper here in Wild Asia. When the Bronx Zoo received 2 female and 1 male gaur from the San Diego Zoo, it took a couple of introductions before all the animals were comfortable. But after a little bit of time, the 3 new animals fully integrated into the herd, and we have the family that you see today. A family group of gaur can consist of up to 40 individuals and is typically led by an older adult female called the matriarch. Since the 2 females and 1 male have been added to this family, there have been a number of offspring. This is important because gaur are considered to be a vulnerable species, so it's vital to maintain a healthy growing herd here at the zoo.
We're just going to be pushing along until we see our next animal here. It'll take a couple of seconds. But as we pass through here, you might hear some background noise. If you do, all it is city traffic coming from the Bronx River Parkway, as it's directly behind this train right now. Sometimes it can get pretty loud, so this wooden fence that you see in front of you is actually what we use to kind of reduce that noise for our next animal. We make sure that our animals are as happy and as comfortable as possible in their enclosures, so this is one of the ways that we do that, is just by reducing that noise for them. Once we fully turn here though, we're going to start to enter the enclosure where we have our tiger. And tiger stripes do provide excellent camouflage, so oftentimes they can be a bit difficult to spot. They are so secretive that even professional researchers can sometimes struggle to find them out in the wild. So you can test your skills, see if you spot our tiger in here today. And the tiger that we have in here is our male Amur or Siberian tiger named Anakin today. And of the 2 subspecies of tiger that we have here at the Bronx Zoo, the Amur and the Malayan, his species, the Amur, is actually the larger. But because we only have 1 tiger in this enclosure at a time, it's kind of hard to make a comparison. But we do that because they are a solitary species and they live alone out in the wild.
I see it, right there, look.
To be in here
Hi,
all by
tiger.
themselves and
Right
living
there, to
quite
your right.
territorial as well.
To your right, right
So
there,
trust me,
in the
they do
middle.
prefer it this way. And tigers do also hunt a variety of animals, however, they prefer wild pigs and medium-sized deer. Typically, a tiger will gorge itself on a fresh kill, eating as much as 40 pounds of meat at one time. And that's the equivalent of 160 hamburgers in a single sitting. So after a meal of that size, a tiger will usually not eat again for several days. And you'll start to see Anakin pretty up close on this right side. He's on the far side, just lying down right here. And the WCS has actually been a leader in tiger conservation, and our scientists out in the field tell us that there's reason to be hopeful that tigers are beating the odds against extinction. And the WCS partners with 6 other conservation groups on tiger conservation efforts, and together we're all fighting against the threats facing wild tigers, including poaching, lack of prey, and habitat loss. And you can see more of them if you visit our Tiger Mountain, which is located just a short shuttle ride away from the monorail. Although unfortunately for you guys today, the shuttle isn't running, so you'll have to walk instead. It should take you about 10 minutes walking.
Having fun, Arhu? Yes?
Now we're also going to pass by the back end of the Kanta Meadow, which is where we started the tour with the deer and the antelope. You didn't really get to see them all too well before, so we'll get a second look at them right here. There's a couple more of our black-buck antelope. Again, like I mentioned in the beginning, they're the tan ones with the white underbelly, and there's a couple more of the Bactria and the pale-colored ones here to the left.
What are
And ahead of
these?
us, you're going to see a bunch of our honey-colored deer, and those are some of our Barasingha. We really didn't get to see those in the beginning, but the Barasingha, they get their name from the male's antlers, which can be quite large and have up to 12 to 14 points. And they're sometimes also referred to as swamp deer, as they're typically found living in marshlands in India. And once we fully get past the back end of this meadow, we'll turn a corner and start to see our wild pig species known as the Babirusa. Now the Babirusa, they have very little hair on their body, and their skin color is very similar to their environment, so you have to keep your eye peeled in order to see them. And sometimes they can blend in a little bit. So in just a second, we're going to start to see them here. The first pen is going to have one of our males. You'll notice that with him, he has in the Malay language, and their tusks kind of resemble antlers. You'll see in the second pen another one of our males. He's more towards the right side. He'll be walking around the pond a little bit. Now their species can actually also be found on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi. And ahead of us, if you start to look towards the front of the train, all the way on the far, far right side, you'll start to see our next animal, as she's practically impossible to miss. She is one of the world's largest land mammals. That's our Asian elephant. over there. We'll get a little bit closer in just a second, so you'll get a better view, don't worry. But African and Asian elephants are iconic animals worldwide, as we all know. Unfortunately, though, they are struggling out in the wild. And Asian elephants can actually weigh more than 10,000 pounds, so they do have to eat a lot of vegetation. For example, our elephants can eat as much as 200 pounds of hay and drink 60
We're
gallons
getting
of
ready
water
for the
each
vacation,
day.
Arha. Look, elephants
And
can
the
take shower.
Tectoverse has more than 40,000 muscles in it. And Asian elephants also have this unique finger-like adaptation at the base of their trunk that allows them to gently pick up blades of grass, or they can use those 40,000 muscles to tear off entire tree branches with tremendous force. So it's truly an incredible tool for them. And the elephant that we have out here today, her name is Patty. And a little fun fact about her is that she's actually over 50 years old. So she has been here for a long time, and that makes her a bit of an old lady for elephant standards.
50
We do
years
pamper her
old.
because of that as well. We take very good care of our elephants, just generally, as we give them baths and pedicures on the regular, and the large tree stump that we passed by the pool of water earlier, that was essentially an elephant-sized back scratcher as well. And right next to where we have the elephant, we have an enclosure with another large land mammal. It's our greater one-horned rhinoceros, Kali. Right now, she's currently fully submerged in this first mud wallow, so she'll kind of look like a big rock in there, but that is the rhino. The foliage kind of covers her up a little bit, but we'll reach a bit of a clearing that might help you see her better, but it's just going to be hard to see her because of this.
Yeah, thank
She's
you.
almost, if not more than halfway in there. So
We're going to
it's
pack
gonna
our
be hard to see
luggage,
her.
remember, when you go home?
But many people do describe rhinos like Kali as armor-plated. However, they're actually covered in just one layer of skin that has a lot of folds in it. And though their skin will look thick and tough, it's actually quite sensitive and needs plenty of protection from the sunlight and insects. And one of the rhino's favorite ways to protect its skin is to sit in a mud wallow like Kali's doing here. For them, it kind of works like sunscreen, and it's also very cooling on a hot day, so they love to sit in it, especially in the morning. And we've also had a lot of success with our greater one-horned rhinoceros. Here at the Bronx Zoo, we help animals like the rhino and tiger by participating in cooperative zoo management programs called the Species Survival Plan. Simply put, it's a plan to help these animals survive, so zoos across the world will work together to maintain genetically diverse populations of rare and endangered species. And as you may have guessed, today all rhinos are considered either vulnerable or endangered. And recent estimations have the wild population of greater one-horned rhinoceros at around 3,700 in India and Nepal. We currently care for 4 greater one-horned rhinos. Kali is one of them, and have had 14 baby rhinos born here at the Bronx Zoo. And a little fun fact about their species, or maybe not so fun fact, is that female rhinos can actually be pregnant for up to 16 months in a year and a half.
Wow.
And that baby will stay with its mother for 2 to 3 years, even though weaning takes only about 12 to 16 months. And weaning is just when they stop nursing. And once that baby is born, it can weigh up to 80 to 100 pounds as well. And we did pass by a second mud wallow there. That second mud wallow was actually the original from when we first opened Wild Asia in 1977. So plenty of rhinos have stomped through there, kind of molding it to their liking. I do also have a bit more information about the WCS's work, not just with these rhinos, but also Sumatran rhinos, if it interests you.
The rhinos you see here are Indian rhinos. We work with habitats all over the world that are homes to rhinos. Here is a note from our field office in Sumatra, Ed Wulan, who works with the Sumatran rhino. Sumatran rhinos are the smallest of the world's rhinos, and they are considered critically endangered.
My name is Wulan Husparini, and I'm the Species Conservation Specialist for WCS Indonesia program. We carried out an island-wide survey of the last wild population of Sumatran rhinoceros in Indonesia. With so many unknowns on how to manage Sumatran rhinos in the wild or captivity, our studies showed definitively that we must protect them at source. The cost of doing nothing could be the extinction of the species, and I can't imagine that.
Now the area we're starting to enter right here, this is our uplands meadow, and we care for a variety of other deer and antelope species, different to the ones from the first meadow, so it's not the same thing twice. You're going to see most of them, if not almost all of them, on the far right side, as it's kind of the morning, early on,
right
so
there, deer.
they like
Look.
to hang out on the right side when it's
Deer.
morning. You will see a couple just kind of sprinkled around the area, but for the most part, we'll see them on the right side. So just give it a second and you'll start to see them. If you start to look towards the front of the train, you'll see some of our very tiny deer, the hog deer, kind of close by these circled off fence areas. There's one of our males just sitting by himself right there. And if you look all the way to the back fence, in that dark left corner in the shade, there's a bunch of our dark brown sandbar deer all the way in the back. Those sandbar deer are the largest species of deer that we have in this area, and they're also the largest species of deer in southern Asia. But because of their distance from us, it doesn't really look that way. And the little hog deer that we saw right here under this little tree by the circled off fence, that's one of our male hog deer. They're the smallest species that we have in this
Oh,
area.
I see so much on the
And they
right.
get their name because they're so short and stout, kind of like a hog, and they frequently get mistaken for babies, but they're adults. And they also kind of move like a hog, which is another way that they get their name, as they creep, run low, and duck under things rather than leaping over them like most other deer species. And here to the right, you'll also see a bunch of our brow antler deer. They're kind of our average-looking deer. They look pretty similar to the ones we have here in New York, but they're from Asia and a totally different species. Their name comes from the fact that the male's antlers curve forward towards the deer's brow, but we only have females, which is why they don't have any antlers. And also, if you look by the back fence, kind of on the left side in that dark dirt patch, you'll see more of our other sandbar deer and our Nilgai antelope. The Nilgai antelope are pretty big in size. They have a white underbelly, a white rump, and a brown coloration. Typically, the males are more of a bluish-gray color, but we only have females, so they're
Look at the
just
deer.
back there. It's kind of hard to see them because of all the trees in the way. And the little mini meadow that we're starting to enter here, this just has one species of deer known as the Chinese tufted deer, but they're typically quite difficult to see as they like to hide by the back fence in the leaves, and their camouflage is quite good. They're very small, they weigh less than 40 pounds, and they're a dark brown color, which again helps them blend in. So I always advise people to just kind of stare at the leaves by the back fence in order to see them. Because of the rain, they're probably hiding in places we can't see them all too well, so it's very likely that we'll miss them as we move through here, but I can still give you the facts about them anyway. So their name comes from a very small tuft of fur that's at the top of their head, and the males also have these long upper canines or tusks that kind of resemble fangs. So sometimes their species is referred to as vampire deer as well, but it's completely unrelated to their diet as they're herbivores. It's just a funny name for how they look. But unfortunately, because of the rain, they decided to hide where we couldn't see them, so you really didn't get a chance to see any of them. It happens sometimes. Typically, even if they are out, most people tend to miss them because they blend in a little too well. Now, right here, we're just going to pass back over the Bronx River once again, and thousands of commuters do cross this waterway every single day without realizing the incredible habitat that it provides for native turtles, fish, and migrating birds like ducks and geese. We're also going to start to enter an enclosure with our two wild goat species, the Markhor and the Himalayan tar. Both of these species are very well adapted to climb rugged mountain slopes like this, as they have these rubbery cores in the center of their hooves that help them grip rocks similar to the sole of a boot. They're also both native to mountainous regions out in the wild, so this is all very normal for them. You'll mostly see the Markhor in this area as we have an abundance of them. They're the ones with the curly corkscrew-like horns, and they're also the largest of the wild goats. We have adult males, adult females, as well as baby Markhor. The baby Markhor, we have about 11 in total in this entire area, and they were all born between 3 to 4 months ago, which is why they're so small. And the male Markhor are the ones that you're seeing with the long mane-like hair around their neck, kind of like a beard, and their curly corkscrew-like horns can be up to 5 feet long. The females have a similar shape to their horns, but they're not quite as long, and they only have a small tuft of fur under their chin. And the Markhor are also such great climbers as they can jump up to 6 feet in the air without really needing a running start. So a lot of these rocks and tree stumps are things that they can easily jump right on top of or jump right over, as again they climb literal mountains out in the wild. So this is just how they exercise and have fun in here. Now if you look towards the front of the train, you'll start to see our male red panda Linus. He's currently lying down right in the center of this tree. So just wait for your train car to pass, you'll get a good view of him. But in Nepal, the red panda is called Hun Ho, which roughly translates to fire fox, and the Mandarin word for red panda, Xiao Shou Mao, translates to small bear cat. Today we know that red pandas are more closely related to skunks, raccoons, and weasels, more so than bears like the giant panda, but they both do enjoy snacking on bamboo. And you can see more of them if you visit our Himalayan highlands, which is located just a short walk from the monorail, about 5 minutes from here or so. And there you can also see another one of our Asia big cats, the snow leopard, as well. And the red panda there, that was actually the last animal we were going to see during this tour, so we're going to start to slow down in a second once we turn this corner. But you guys have heard from me and some of our animal experts. We're stopping right here just because there's a red light ahead, that's all. But you guys have heard from me and some of our animal experts here and in the fields, and we really do hope that you guys have been inspired by all you've heard and seen today. Again, we'll be here for about a couple more seconds. We're just waiting for the train ahead of us to move forward, like that. So now I can move forward again. But if you remember from the beginning of the tour, the Bronx Zoo is part of the Wildlife Conservation Society, or WCS, and in addition to the 5 parks that we manage in New York City, the Bronx Zoo, the New York Aquarium, the Central Park Zoo, the Queens Zoo, and the Prospect Park Zoo, the WCS does also have scientists working out in the fields at more than 300 sites in over 50 countries. So they do work tirelessly to find solutions and ensure the survival of endangered wildlife worldwide. And you guys do your part and help us help wildlife just by being here today, so thank you all. Any contribution you make towards the zoo will help us get closer to achieving our goals and also will help us to keep these operations running. So we really do appreciate you guys being here today. Now, in a second or two, we're going to make another brief stop. This one isn't our final stop either. This one is just so that I can quickly reset the train before I bring it back to the platform. And we're also waiting for the train ahead of us to give us the room to park. So it'll take about 20 to 30 seconds right here. Just have a little patience with me here. But as a reminder for your visit today, if you haven't used it yet, we do have this great web-based interactive map that has exhibit information, up-to-date status of activities, and point-to-point GPS. Alright guys, our adventure is now coming to its official end, so once again, just please remain seated until the train has made a complete stop and those doors have fully opened. And watch your step as you're exiting the monorail car. Remember, there's a step up for people in the front row and a step down for people in the back row. So try not to trip, especially because the floors might be a little bit slippery. And if you're in the first 6 cars, you can exit on your right. If you're in the last 2 cars, you can exit on your left. And if you're in Lucky Car B6, you can just exit straight ahead. And those instructions are for when facing the door, just so that you don't get confused. And I've, of course, been your guide and driver, Riv. It has been my absolute pleasure to do this tour for you guys. You've all been great. And on behalf of the Bronx Zoo, I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. We hope that you'll come back and visit us again very, very soon. And before you leave the train, of course, make sure that you have all of your belongings, check the seats and the floors. And if you have any trash, please take it with you as well and just throw it out at the platform. Do not leave it on this train. It is not a trash can, so just take it with you. And we're going to stop in just a second or two here.
Yay.
Here we are. Thank you guys so much.
Done. Sorry. Did you have fun? Okay. Bye.
We really had fun in the Wild World Trail. You should try it. This is something you should not miss at the zoo. So hope you liked our video. Don't forget to subscribe and stay connected for more videos.
Thank you. Now you gotta carry it.
Our next video is Africa Trail. So thank you for watching. Bye.